Let's move to week 8 here, where we got a couple games that we can hit here on the card and have some fun with tonight. Look, 101, 102 Thursday Night Football. Keenum, Cousins, is Adam Thielen going to suit up for this football game? Are we going to get what kind of injuries we're going to get back for the Washington Redskins? I think that I saw Adrian Peterson was going to give it a go. Whether that even matters or not, 15.5 across the board in this football game. Just some simple statistics. And Washington statistics are going to theoretically take a bath in that rain from what they had in the past game versus the 49ers. Well, listen to some of these numbers on offense here. 12.9 points per game. 267 total yards per game, 183 yards passing per game, 85 yards on the ground, and a yards per play of 4.9 going up against one of the more elite defenses for the Minnesota Vikings at home in the Dome, revved up and ready, fresh off a victory on Sunday off the Detroit Lions. What can we expect from the Washington Redskins in this game, especially on offense here?
I don't know. It's a disaster what's going on there. And I don't in any way, shape, or form have faith that Bill Callahan has any answers at all for this Vikings defense. The Vikings defense is playing superbly right now. I know that they gave up some points and some passing yards to Matt Stafford and company, but he's playing great right now. I wouldn't really hold that against the Vikings at all. I think the likelihood that you could see back-to-back shutouts for the Redskins is live. The fact that Adrian Peterson had as many carries as he did last week, and yet this is setting up as like the major narrative heading into this game is going to be Peterson's big homecoming to Minnesota, and that they're going to try to feature him and give him extra carries. Like, that's not going to work. So this is set up pretty well for looking for the Vikings or nothing. The question is, can you stomach laying double-digit points on a Kirk Cousins team? And granted, he's got a motivational angle in this game as well. But I'm just looking at this Redskins squad. They are playing extremely poor offensively, and nothing that they have done since the coaching change is giving you any indication that they're going to all of a sudden wake up and play like an amazing game of football. But interesting Thursday night game just from the narrative standpoint, with Peterson going home, Case Keenum going home, to where 2 years ago he carried that team to an NFC title game, and then of course Kirk Cousins will be a big story as well. So weird little homecoming revenge sort of narratives, angles. I don't think any of that matters. I think this is entirely about how many points do the Vikings feel like scoring? Is it mostly Dalvin Cook or Stefon Diggs? Because I don't think we'll see Thielen in this one. Chance for some defensive scores for the Vikings. I think this is looking for maybe a Vikings team total over is a fun angle here, because they can win this one 28-0 or 42-0, kind of whatever they choose, as far as I can tell you.
Yeah, taking a look at points per game there, Minnesota 27 and close to 400 yards of offense. A lot of that on the ground. Third overall in rushing at 160 yards per game and a yards per play of 6.4. The interesting thing, because last weekend I actually came up with one of my personal plays that I had, minus 9.5 from the 49ers versus the Washington Redskins. As we all saw, it was 9-0. San Francisco did have some shots to try to cover that in the second half, but once we saw the rain coming down, it was pretty much who's going to run the most and who's not going to turn the football over, which turned to be the Washington Redskins that were making the most mistakes in that football game. But one of my caps, take out the deluge of the rain, and I thought, there's going to be some rain in the forecast, but I didn't think the field would be that bad. No Thompson out of the backfield is going to help out Case Keenum. Nobody really a tight end on that quick valve, and the same thing is going to poke its head and come true, I believe, in the Dome, because you're talking about a really good defense and a really good defensive coordinator. So when the pass rush heat is coming on, it's nice to have that little scat back to dump it off for, whether or not you get 5 or 6 yards, but just as one of those outlets, or a healthy athletic tight end over the middle, because when the pass rush comes in from the front seven, you got to get the ball quickly. That's usually your first option. I don't see very many options for Washington, so it's an interesting point, that back-to-back shutout look for the Redskins, because the one thing that we've seen in pro football this year is when teams know they really can't score and they get down double digits in the second half, well, they're no longer kicking field goals at that point. They're going for touchdowns at will now.
Great point. Yeah, once you're down more than 2 scores, there's no point in kicking field goals. Even although Bill Callahan, do we know if he knows the rules, or is he the kind of guy that's like, well, we need the points? Most of the stuff that we're seeing and most of the stuff that he's saying pre and post games is indicating that he's probably one of the worst coaches in the league. So maybe he's the kind of guy that will kick field goals down to make a 3-score game a 3-score game. You never know. But I think that the Vikings really will dictate this one, whistle to whistle here, and I'm considering laying the points, to be honest with you, or staying away from the game entirely. Is the World Series, NBA? There'll be something else on Thursday, I'm sure.